Forget Circleville, Ohio. Do nothing to hurt Sheriff Radcliffe. If you come to Ohio, you El Sickos will pay. The Circleville Writer. Hello, true crimerers. This is the case of the Circleville letters. Viewer discretion is advised. This is one of those stories that I remember seeing on Unsolved Mysteries when I was younger, and for some reason this one scared the living shit out of me. In 1977, a woman would go to her mailbox and she took out a letter. That woman was wife and mother Mary Gillespie. There was a letter addressed to her with no return address. The letter read, "Mrs. Gillespie, stay away from Massey. Don't lie when questioned about meeting him. I know where you live. I've been observing your house and know you have children. This is no joke. Please take it serious. Everyone concerned has been notified, and everything will be over soon." The letter was referring to this man here, Gordon Massey, who was allegedly having an affair with Mary Gillespie. Mary was a local bus driver there. And this is all happening in the town of Circleville, Ohio, which back then in the 70s had a population somewhere around 13 to 15,000 people or so. Mary was married, and she did not tell her husband about the first letter she received or the second letter she received. She would also receive this letter here. Feel free to pause and read if you want. And then Mary's husband, Ron Gillespie, got his own letter. And so now at this point, Mary had to come clean about her receiving 2 letters before. She has no idea who they're from. She said the stuff that's being talked about, this affair, isn't true. She thought it would all just go away. It didn't. Over the course of a few years or so, the residents of Circleville, Ohio, not just Mary and her husband, but many people were receiving letters as well. Thousands of letters were sent, never with a return address, never knowing who sent them. Now, in the letter, or one of the letters that Ron got, it would say, quote, "Mr. Gillespie, your wife is seeing Gordon Massey. You should catch them together and kill them both. He doesn't deserve to live." This is a small community, and sometimes small communities like this, they like to have a little scandal from time to time. But Ron receives another letter. Feel free to pause and read. And this is the only photo of Ron I could actually find. But then he gets another letter, and this one says, "Gillespie, you have had 2 weeks and have done nothing. Admit the truth and inform the school board. If not, I will broadcast it on CBS, posters, signs, and billboards until the truth comes out." This person clearly is trying to have this affair become public. And then one night in August of 1977, it became deadly. Ron Gillespie takes a phone call at his house, and it sounds like he is confronting someone on the other end. However, nobody knows what the person on the other end said to him. But as he left the house, he says, "I'm going to confront the letter writer now." Basically insinuating he knew who it was, but he didn't say. Ron grabs his .22 caliber weapon, he gets into his truck, and he speeds away. Ron would never come home alive. Just a very short time after he left the home, Ron Gillespie got involved in a 1-car fatal crash. He was killed instantly on impact. They found his .22 caliber weapon in the car on the passenger seat, and 1 shot had been fired. Now, he wasn't shot. There were no indications that the truck had any gunshots in it. Who did he shoot at? Was this truly an accident, or was this a homicide? Did somebody lure him out of the house? Someone who may have been the Circleville letter writer lure him out? Nobody knows. His death, however, has always been listed as an accident. It didn't stop there. One afternoon, Mary Gillespie is driving her school bus, and she sees on the side of the road a sign that's basically telling Mary, "I'm going to involve your daughter in this unless you do something." And there was a box attached to this little makeshift sign. Mary rips the box off of this post, and she is incredibly lucky because when she opened that box, there was a gun inside of it. A gun that was intended to go off, intended to shoot Mary. But by the way she handled it and also the way it was constructed very crudely, someone who didn't really know what they were doing, thankfully the gun did not go off. Now, the serial number on the gun it looked like someone had tried to scrape it off, but they were able to get most of the numbers. And this shocked everyone as to who owned this gun. The gun belonged to this man here, Paul Freshour. Paul was Ron Gillespie's brother-in-law. Paul was married to Ron's sister. But I guess Paul and his wife were going through a divorce or a separation. The wife, Karen, said that Paul had at one point confessed to writing the Circleville letters. She would later tell police that she found letters throughout their home that appeared to look like the Circleville letters. But Paul's like, I have nothing to do with this. I did not write those letters. My gun was actually stolen. When he offered to take a polygraph test, he failed. Which, as most of you should know by now, that doesn't really mean anything at all. So they collected a sample of Paul Freshour's handwriting, and this is an actual letter he wrote. And they tried to say that it was the same handwriting as the Circleville letters. Personally, I'm not seeing it. When I see these letters, I'm seeing someone who is deliberately trying to mask their handwriting style. This person is writing in all caps, basically. Big, like, block-style letters. Not many people will just write like this naturally. But Paul is arrested, and he is charged with attempted murder because of the attempted murder of Mary Gillespie. He is found guilty of that crime, and he is sentenced to prison. Surely now the letters will stop, because Paul, the guy who supposedly wrote them, is in prison. Nope. They kept on coming. As a matter of fact, Paul himself received one in prison. Freshour, now when are you going to believe you aren't getting out of there? I told you 2 years ago. When we set them up, they stay set up. Don't you listen at all? No one wants you out. No one. The joke is on you. Ha, ha. Tell no one of this letter. I saw the paper. Great news. Great, the sheriff loved it. Ha, ha. Do you believe it now? Do you? But people in Circleville were continuing to get letters, all with the exact same handwriting style. But the thing is, it was literally impossible for Paul to have sent those letters. He was not allowed to use any paper or pens or any writing devices in prison. He wasn't writing them, and he certainly did not send a letter to himself. Unsolved Mysteries takes on this case, like I mentioned at the beginning, and when they do, they themselves get a letter, sort of. Forget Circleville, Ohio. Do nothing to hurt Sheriff Radcliffe. If you come to Ohio, you El Sickos will pay, the Circleville writer. This person clearly has some affection for this Sheriff Radcliffe person. In 1994, Paul Freshour was released from prison on parole. He basically was the one who really begged Unsolved Mysteries to really look into this, because he still swears it was not me who wrote those letters, despite one person saying that he confessed to doing it. But there is a suspicion that, well, who hated Paul the most at that time? Probably the woman he's getting divorced from. It was not a very pretty divorce. Who could have had access to the gun? Who could have claimed that they found letters around the house that matched, conveniently, the Circleville writer? And why would he leave them around so noticeably? Doesn't really make sense. His ex-wife was Ron Gillespie's sister. Could she have found out that Mary was having an affair? Of course, she could have found that out easily. Could that sister have been working with someone else to do this? Sure. It all started with trying to out Mary Gillespie with this affair, which led to a possible homicide, or at least a tragic accident, an attempted murder on Mary herself, and a possible wrongful conviction. Paul Freshour has since died, going to his grave swearing he was not the Circleville writer. The writer of the Circleville letters has never been proven conclusively. Letters were written after the supposed writer was in prison, who had no access to pen, pencils, or paper. Did he have an accomplice to do this? Or was he a patsy? In a way, it seems like Paul Freshour was the true victim here. Or was he the mastermind? The answer to those questions may never be answered. Had they tested the envelopes for DNA? I'm not sure. But you can get DNA from the envelope flaps. Had they dusted them for fingerprints? I have to imagine they tried. Ultimately, in the end, the author of the Circleville letters may remain a mystery forever.